quoting, I think it was somebody else's statement, but it was about when you're in relationship, the other person, there's no other person, you're just in relationship with yourself. And it was like, duh, that, I unconsciously been holding it as a separate person.
Another,
Yeah.
right? That you're in a relationship with somebody else.
I just looked at it and it was like, whoa. Anyway, so if you don't mind discussing that some more, because I thought that was really profound, that something so simple could slip by and be, profoundly changing.
So like conventionally, there is the impression that the relationship is between A and B, between two parties, between two persons. It all starts with the assumption that I am a person. And the feeling that I'm a person.
It's the feeling quality.
And there is a sense of lack that immediately that's there, that accompanies that feeling, that belief and feeling. There is a sense of incompleteness. Because a part has been pulled out of the whole. A me, a person has been pulled out of the divine, of consciousness, been pulled out. And it yearns to come back to wholeness. That yearning to go back to wholeness is experienced as a sense of lack, as a child that is lost their mother, that is yearning to reconnect with their mother and to be with their mother again. This entire impression is a dream impression, meaning there are images on the screen of consciousness. The screen of consciousness being right now, right here, whatever it is that hears these words, the presence, the formless awareness that hears these words, that perceives this perception. You could refer to that as a screen of consciousness, as a screen upon which the images arising out of consciousness itself, as a me and another, a me that has lost their wholeness and that is yearning to reconnect, to find their wholeness. And it looks out into the world and looks for objects into the world that can make it whole, that can bring it back to its natural state of wholeness and completeness. And because the senses perceive sort of, it's as if they're perceiving an external world. They're perceiving, and as a sensory element to perception, to auditory, to the auditory sense, to the sensory sense of feeling, touching, smelling. And because we've separated ourselves from the whole and have identified with the object, with the body, meaning with the senses, then the senses guide us. They guide us through the visual, through the auditory, through the sense of smell, through the sense of touch, through the feeling states. And so we pursue through perception, through sensation, through auditory, we pursue objects. But all along our experience is an intimate experience of sensing, perceiving, smelling, touching, feeling, We're experiencing our experience. We're sensing our senses. We're smelling. Smelling is actually an experience of oneself. It's not an object. It's not an object out there, because imagine there is an object out there, a rose that smells like a rose, and the smell of the rose comes to you. When it comes to you, boom, there is a oneness. You're smelling yourself as a rose. You're experiencing your experience. You're never experiencing an object out there. When you look at what your experience is and you look at an object, but you look carefully at the object, you start by perceiving an object out there, but as you pay a little bit more attention, you will notice that you are perceiving your perception, meaning you're being aware of an awareness. There is an awareness awareing itself as a cup, as a perception of a cup. Awareness awareing itself as hearing these words, as understanding these words. Awareness awareing this perception occurring within awareness as awareness, not as something out there that you are traveling towards to experience. That's the mystery that the mind does not get. The mind perceives a world out there. Then if the world is out there, then how do you perceive it? If it's out there, how do you, out here, perceive what's out there? That is the mystery that the mind cannot fathom, cannot answer. But from your direct experience, you will notice that whatever you perceive, you're perceiving right here, right now. It's made out of yourself. Perception is made out of yourself. So in a relationship, which is really, if you break it down to this set of perceptions and sensations and observations and comments and thoughts and perceptions. You're experiencing yourself. And when you recognize that you're experiencing yourself, then where is the sense of lack? There isn't a sense of lack. So when you experience yourself and there isn't a sense of lack, your experience is sweet. And in some that sweetness permeates the dream, meaning it permeates your experience. Your experience becomes sweet because it's void of the sense of lack. But when you are imagining me and another, there is a pursuit, there is evaluation, there is measurement, there is judgment, there is, is it working for me? And it's not going to work for you. Why? Because the you is a shifting target. You is a dream character that keeps shifting and changing. It's seeking happiness and wholeness in an object, in the world. So it says, oh, well, it's this, or no, it's not this. Today is this, but tomorrow is that. And then it's something else. Because you cannot be fulfilled with a limited object, with an object, no matter how vast or how big the object is. It's still limited and will only provide a limited fulfillment, meaning a fulfillment that's in time and space, that is impermanent, that is not eternal. And so when you're not experiencing eternity in a relationship, you're experiencing this continuity in incompleteness. And so you're toggling between happiness and unhappiness. and your terms keep changing and shifting. So you're in a relationship where there are like terms being shifting. You don't know what card is being dealt to you from moment to moment and what card you're dealing to the other from moment to moment. You flip the card over, you don't know if it's an ace or if it's a queen or if it's a jack. So in a relationship, true relationship starts with a love for truth and a recognition of your wholeness. Not a wholeness that's dependent on a certain situation or a certain condition or in a certain way the relationship is or should unfold. It starts at the ending point. It starts with the happiness. It starts with the freedom. But first you have to recognize the freedom that you are. When you recognize the freedom that you are, then you're instantaneously recognizing the freedom that is. Because the freedom that you are is a borderless freedom and is not limited to you. The freedom that's limited to you is not real freedom. It's a limited freedom. So over and over in the relationship, you go to source. You go to the recognition of your wholeness. Meaning you go to the recognition that the separate thought is dream thought, is not real, is not the path, is not the direction to follow. And that sort of inquiry occurs right here, in your own space, right here in your own direct experience, in terms of whatever arises that triggers the you. That's where you inquire. Is that what I am? So yes, relationship is relationship with oneself, but not oneself as a person, oneself as universal consciousness. Meaning it's a universal relationship, it's a relationship of consciousness with itself. Meaning the other is yourself, is your very self. Of course, then the mind comes into the picture. All the conditioning, all the stories, all the belief systems. But you cannot buy them. You cannot buy the I thought. Because the I thought says that consciousness is personal. But when you look directly at your experience, you will find that the person, whatever you experience as a person, because it's in